The Great Tomb of Nazarick is home to many horrors. Between Evil Doge Girl, what's currently happening under your bed right now, boring paperwork, and the kinky dungeons, there's only one certainty for any invader. It could always get even worse. So let me ask you a question. Did you ever look at the members of Ainz Ooal Gown, at the floorguardians and the powerful legions full of legendary monsters they command, and thought to yourself, yeah, they require something even more OP? Well, the Supreme Beings most certainly did. And that's probably how Albedo's younger sister came to be. Just let me give you a general explanation on how OP Rubedo truly is. She's stronger than Touch Me and Ulbert Alain Odle. Stronger than the strongest floorguardian, Shalltear Bloodfallen. A being so OP that she's essentially a raid boss. But despite being the strongest entity in all of Nazarick, she's no floorguardian. This honor had fallen to victim. And to give you an even better perspective of how strong Rubedo is, let's have a little story time. Just imagine you're part of the legion-sized force that invaded Nazarick back in Yggdrasil. Your guildmaster had joined the alliance of the top guilds, so all of you who were PK'd by this damnable Ainz Ooal Gown guild can finally get revenge. So you, along with every other guild member, and most of your mercenary NPCs, are joining the main force just outside of the Great Tomb. Your raid is 1,500 members strong, and your own guild is allied with several top guilds. Surely there's no way you could ever lose. And after 5 hellish levels full of enemies, horrors and traps, you're teleported into the Grand Colosseum on the 6th floor, where you're faced with strong golems and even more traps in form of the twin floorguardians, Aura Bellafiora and Mare Bellofiore. One girl is essentially Legion, and one boy is essentially a walking earthquake. But despite all of this, and despite the heavy losses you already suffered through Shalltear, Cantus, and all the other floorguardians you encountered so far, you finally managed to break out of the Colosseum. You've slain the floorguardians of the last level of Nazarick. Surely the treasure vault is just around the corner. You did it. And then some teammate of yours tells you there's another level to clear. So after additional hours inside the Great Tomb, you've managed to survive a demiurge-led demon host, and area guardians like Gurren, a slime so utterly min-maxed for battle and placed in so advantageous molten terrain that even Rimuru Tempest would have a hard time dealing with it. At this point, you start to believe, to truly believe, that now, finally, after hours upon hours in this hellhole, it can only get better. You weren't prepared for that extra level. You've spent way more potions and consumables than originally planned, but the throne room and the treasury vault, filled to the absolute brim with epic loot and world-class items, is finally within reach. And after you obtain some insanely rare loot, you and your remaining alliance members will have conquered Nazarick. All the times some wannabe evil lord ambushed and killed you with magic stronger than super tier. All the times some slime boy corroded your weapons. All the times you wanted to hunt some barely dressed harpies and some degenerate birdman already killed each and every one in your area, will be finally avenged. What a glorious feeling! You finally defeated the guild that PK'd you multiple times over years, possibly even a decade. And then your teammate calls you again and says, wait, there's more! What? And then you actually arrive at level 8. No traps, no fancy buildings and elaborate designs, no ice palace, no blazing inferno, no deep dark lake, and no primal forest, just a barren wasteland. And then someone is attacked by or stumbles upon a low-level angel. At this point, you're probably thinking that this area is still under construction, and you've already won. So you might hurry and march forward so you actually can loot the treasury vault before anybody else. Only to notice that you can barely move at all, and that you are suffering from some rather nasty debuffs. And on the horizon, you're facing a little girl clad in red. and many strong looking enemies. And in the back of your mind, you're starting to realize why the 8th level of Nazarick is mostly flat ground. This entire floor might be just one huge arena. And fighting the strange red girl and the many truly fearsome enemies that are now closing in is so devastating that any great buildings would have been destroyed every time a battle occurs. And again, this is Nazarick. It can and will always get worse, because now you're not only facing Rubedo, essentially a raid boss, and the other monsters of the 8th floor while being debuffed, you're facing Rubedo while she is being led, and thereby buffed by Aureole Omega, the youngest and strongest of the Pleiades sisters, a being blessed with commander class abilities so strong that Shizu's doppelganger was able to stop Ainz Ooal Gown from casting maximized magic twice, and in spite of the rather huge level difference between them. And so after hours upon hours of slow crawling progress, you die, just short before your aim, and one of your legendary weapons you spent weeks farming is lost in the Great Tomb of Nazarick. And the exact same thing will happen to every member of the invasion force. And that's how Nazarick defeated an over 1,500 players and mercenary NPC strong raiding force. The 7 previous levels are essentially phase 1 of any Dark Souls boss fight. If you die, it's fine. But if you don't, you already wasted precious potions and other items just to reach phase 2, where the true fight starts. Thank you for listening. Over and out.